All right, everybody, so welcome back. So we do have a lot more for you on the program today, but just a few things before we move on to our next segment. So as it relates to yesterday's traffic horror, according to the newspaper today, the Public Utilities Minister, Barry Padarath, he has ordered a report and an investigation as to what would have transpired yesterday. All right, so from what we are seeing and what the minister is confirming, he said on Sunday night there was a rupturing of pipelines in the vicinity of the lighthouse. He says emergency works were done up to 5 a.m. yesterday in an attempt to rectify the problem. He said the surface was saturated with water and therefore resurfacing couldn't be done immediately. He says the management of WASA has assured me that it will be resurfaced by the end of today, which was yesterday, Monday. Acknowledging the public's traffic pain, he said, in the circumstances, I understand the public's frustration and I have called on WASA for a full report. However, the situation that developed was unforeseen since this was not a planned project. Padarath said WASA indicated that because the surface became saturated with water overflow, it created a problem that was not catered for. He said once WASA realized that the overflow had a significant impact, which could not be addressed in a short space of time, it tried to alert the public. While I do commend their efforts, I have no intention of sugarcoating it. I do believe that they needed to do better in communicating with the public. That is expected of them. Well, I think that the minister could not put it better. I think that there was poor communication yesterday, and I don't know that the correct mechanisms would have been put in place to assist motorists. And when I say that, there was no word, well, here's what. Because of that situation on the highway and because it is Monday morning and because it is the opening of the new school term, could the PBR been opened for a short period of time? So, you know, better coordination next time. All right, so we're moving on. So we do have in studio this morning TTPS Ambassador Sergeant Ancil Forde. That's the gentleman there. Mr. Forde, always good to see you. How things this morning? I hope you didn't get caught up in the traffic yesterday, you know.
Fortunately not.
Yeah?
Yeah, but one could imagine the amount of persons who would have gotten caught up simply because school has reopened.
Yeah.
Yeah?
So if you're a police officer and you're in traffic like that,
yes,
you have the authority to jump out of your car and start moving cars that may be blocking entrances and exits and so on?
Well, when you say
careful,
the authority to move cars, if it is that there's a situation and there is a need to regulate traffic, right, and you're a police officer present, yeah, by all means you have a duty to get out and assist in regulating the traffic. The issue may exist that you may not be in uniform, right, so that's why one of the challenges, but it is still better to try to assist than do nothing.
Yeah.
Right, because you understand traffic laws and how to direct the traffic, but that's for another time.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Forde, what's up for us this morning?
But we are speaking in relation to safety.
Yes.
And more so because of the fact that school has reopened, and I heard you more or less touching on, you know, the traffic on the road and I want to say the speed, the way in which drivers are hurried to get from point A to point B, and that is where we need to actually start the conversation. All right, we want to speak to members of the public as it relates to the traffic situation. Safety is what is required.
Yeah.
Right, and for drivers in particular, a vehicle does nothing by itself. It parks up there. It would not go left, it will not go right, it will not reverse, nothing of the sort. Somebody has to move that vehicle. And understanding that school has reopened and we have a lot more motor vehicles on the road, we have a lot more pedestrians on the road, right? In order for us to ensure that everybody gets to their destination safely, you, the driver, has, I want to say, probably that first responsibility to obey the traffic laws, right? We know that you have to reach a destination for a certain time, and you may get caught up in traffic. You may choose to break the law, for instance, to drive through a red light, to drive on the shoulder. These things, they are against the law. You put persons' life in danger, not only the persons who are in your vehicle, but other road users, right? So, to the drivers in particular, we appeal to you all to understand the responsibility that you carry as a driver, somebody who is in charge of a motor vehicle. On the road, you are responsible for the lives of persons in your vehicle and persons on the roadway. And as such, let us take our time. We may be late.
Yes.
You cannot be late twice.
Yeah, and have some conscience and express some, have some discretion, Mr. Forde. Yesterday, I witnessed 2 drivers blocking 2 intersections, and you should see the problem that they were causing uptown, because their feeling is, well, here's what, I can't go this way, so here's what, I'm going to block the intersection to prevent vehicles going from east to west.
Right.
That was crazy.
Yes, Marlan, and it is because of...
Welcome to Living Life, the magazine show where experience meets inspiration. Each week we dive into vibrant stories of health, style, and leisure. Celebrate Caribbean icons and legends. Taste the good life with food and fitness. Stay sharp with tech-savvy tips and expert financial and medical advice. And discover amazing local events you won't want to miss. Join our hosts, the delightful Charmaine Forde and Cecilia Salazar, as they celebrate our bold, brilliant, mature adults. This is your time to shine. Catch us weekly on TV and social media. Let's keep living life together. Living Life in proud partnership with TAP.
All right, everybody. So we are back. So TTPS Ambassador Sergeant Ancil Forde is here. But Sergeant, when we got cut off just now, I want to make my point again.
Yes.
That motorists, they have to have a little more discretion, listen to your conscience, right, and just go out there and do the right thing. Because as I said yesterday, 2 motorists in 2 different incidents were blocking intersections.
Yes.
And that would have caused massive gridlock in uptown Port-of-Spain.
Yes.
All one of them had to do was just reverse.
Marlan, that sort of indiscretion, it happens at times. And you ask yourself, what's the reason for it, right? But firstly, the intersection should not have been blocked, simply because one would understand, common sense would say, if it is I cannot cross the intersection,
Yes.
then I ought not to enter the intersection. Now, I must indicate that it is an offense, right? And at intersections, you have that checkered box area,
yellow box,
right? And it carries a penalty of $3,000 if it is you really stop in that intersection when it is you cannot cross and clear the intersection, right? Or clear the checkered box area. But separate and apart from the penalty, it's just the common sense approach, right? And that reasonable expectation that if I leave it clear, the other line of traffic can pass, and in so doing, we ourselves regulate the traffic by us being observant, paying attention to the laws, and complying. And that will allow for either persons, different directions, to be able to get to their point faster. And sometimes just that simple way in which we could compromise and say, here, what? Let me reverse.
Yeah.
As you would have indicated, that's all that's required.
Yeah.
Right? But sometimes we don't get that sort of response from people, right?
Yeah.
So I spoke specifically to the drivers in terms of urging them, right? Understanding your responsibility as drivers. I think if you get it correct, right, then the other road users are going to be safe. So we're talking about pedestrians now.
Mm-hmm.
The pedestrians really, they are at your mercy as a driver, right? And oftentimes you would see them trying to cross. It may not be at the zebra crossing, right? But specifically when they're at the zebra crossing, you, the driver, have a responsibility to stop and allow persons who are at the zebra crossing to cross. Now, where you stop as a driver in relation to the zebra crossing is also a critical thing, because oftentimes we tend to stop before the zebra crossing, and then thereafter persons may cross in front of your vehicle. But there's a blind side, because where you park and they're crossing in front of you, they cannot see vehicles approaching from behind. Likewise, vehicles that are coming cannot see the pedestrian crossing in front of your vehicle. Yes? So it is better to pass the zebra crossing and stop.
Mm-hmm.
And for persons who wish to cross, if it is that the vehicle is in front of you, bear in mind that you have a blind side, and you should be very careful if you decide to cross in front of that vehicle. Ideally, let that vehicle continue where nothing obstructs the vision of the oncoming driver, so that he or she would see you crossing, and they would give you that opportunity to cross.
Mr. Forde, I know that we're speeding this morning. I just
Yes.
have about 1 minute again, but just speaking about that zebra crossing, for the motorist, that doesn't mean you must speed up. And for the person who is crossing at the zebra crossing, this shouldn't be you crossing at the zebra crossing.
Well, Marlan, I want to endorse that, right? To the driver, right, remember the responsibility you have is to give way to the pedestrian. And to the pedestrians, you all need to be mindful of the distraction of your cell phone or your smart devices. And there are times when it is not safe, particularly whilst you're on the road, to be all engrossed in your device, whether by way of a telephone call, because you're not really paying full attention to the road, or whether it is you are checking some other thing on your device. So, whilst it is that our time is running, Marlan, we welcome our school children back onto the roads, welcome them back into schools, and we want to call upon the parents to take that time to speak with your kids, advise them of the do's and don'ts whilst on the roadway in particular, right? And let us ensure that we all get to our destination safely. Yes? So.
Yeah, Mr. Forde, we will continue this discussion.
Yes, we will.
I have some things I want to get off my chest. Right? And I'll have Mr. Forde answer them. Yeah?
Sure.
But thank you very much for coming this morning. Until we see you right back here next week. Enjoy the weekend. Yeah?
Thank you. You as well.
We're coming back, everybody.